Welcome to Greetings for Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary, and we are coming to you from the Pochuck Glenwood Ambulance Squad right here on the top of Drew Mountain Road in 565. You can see the beautiful sign here, Glenwood-Pochuck, started in 1980. And later on the show, we're going to talk to a couple of members from the squad. They're in the middle of an ongoing membership drive, and they're hoping some volunteers from the community will get together and come join them here and serve the community as a first responder. But we're going to lead off tonight's show. We had a legend in town, a boys basketball legend, Bob Hurley, the famed coach from Jersey City, coached at St. Anthony's until they unfortunately had to close the school, lack of funds. Well, Bob came up to do his annual basketball clinic at the Vernon PAL, and here's a story on that. Coach, you've been doing this for a while. You come up from Jersey City, give you your time. Just talk about what you do here with the kids tonight.
Well, it's my relationship with Frank Sharkey that gets me up here. You know, a hero from Jersey City who's been up here, you know, working with the PAL for many, many years. And this is always great right before basketball season to come up. It challenges you to be a good teacher because you have so many kids at different ages. And at the same time, you want to have some fun with it. So I know we had fun with them today. I had fun with the high school kids to start, put the pressure right on. And, you know, you're trying to show it can be a great sport. But it's a sport, so don't take it too seriously, and you know, try to learn to enjoy it, and maybe you can take it someplace and, you know, become a member of the varsity team here, or just use it as something you use to play for the rest of your life.
Now, in this day and age where fundamentals kind of go out the window, you got the kids on the ground floor here. How important? I mean, you guys didn't take one shot out of basket tonight, and you went for an hour and a half teaching the fundamentals. Talk about how important that is.
Yeah, it's your foundation. You know, for anybody in the construction business, if you don't have a solid foundation, everything's just going to go wrong, you know, from the beginning until the end. So in teaching the kids here, all of this stuff they can do without having to have a formal practice. Everything we did today is things that they can simulate. And my success, which I said to the kids, was if they can remember a lot of this stuff and start to do this stuff on their own, they're going to be learning a little bit more about the game. And then if they start watching all these college games on TV and just watch them, start going to see the local high school teams when they play, and then just start imitating what they see older players do.
Now, this is going to be the first time, I don't know how many years you're not going to be coaching or playing. What are your plans? Or are you just going to relax?
Well, no, I started a not-for-profit in Jersey City called the Hurley Family Foundation. And we're running, what we did today, we've been doing it since September 18th. So we bring kids in and we're doing the same thing, teaching them how to play. And then maybe once a week, I let them play 5-on-5 for a while. And they go berserk. They're so happy because they've been doing what the kids have been doing today, just practicing dribbling, learning the pivot foot, how to grab a rebound, learning how to pass the basketball, you know, good shooting form. And those things hopefully carry over to January where we're going to let them play in a league. But I don't have my own team for the first time in 50 years. So this coming Monday, I just said to the men's and women's coaches here, I envy them, you know, getting ready for the season and how much fun it is because, you know, all I have is memories right now. I have great memories, but memories nevertheless.
Frank, you've been a big part of the PAL since your days as an officer here. You're also friends with Bob Hurley, who's coming to this camp. Talk about how you got Coach Hurley to come here and that connection.
Well, Bob is a personal friend of my family's. He went to school with my younger brother. We all hung around in the St. Paul's courtyard and played ball together. Bob's dad was a policeman in Jersey City with me. Bob loves basketball. He was the coach at St. Anthony's. I believe they won 38 state championships. At one point, he was the #1 team in the United States. At one point, his son Danny and himself were in the top 5 teams in the United States. Bob loves basketball. And I just said, Bob, do you think you'd come up? We have a PAL. And he said, sure. And he's been coming up since Kenny Kazicki, who is a policeman here in town now, I believe was a freshman in high school. He's been definitely coming up over 20 years. I mean, it's great. It's a thrill for me to have him to come.
And just talk about when they started the PAL in town, you, Gary Gardner, other officers. When you come here, you see this beautiful building, and you see all the kids involved, that must make you very happy. And I know you're still involved with the ski club.
I'm still involved with the ski club. I'm not on the board of directors anymore. I moved out of town. But Gary Gardner and Kenny Kazicki basically were the big forces moving. When we first started the PAL, it was John Kaz, Carol Schroeder, myself, all of us, but Gary was the brainstorm of it. He wanted to do it. He said, we need some place for the kids. And I give all the credit to Gary for doing that.
All right, Bob's a great guy. He's a basketball coach, folks. He comes up here, he's coaching little kids, driving up to Vernon. He's not making a lot of money doing it. He's a basketball lifer and a class act. Always good to see Coach Hurley come up here. Before we go to break, we want to thank the Vernon Township Education Association, the local teachers union. They've been sponsors here on Greetings from Vernon since last winter. We want to thank them and appreciate all the good work they do with your children here in the township. We'll have more here from Greetings from Vernon right after these messages here on mugsmedia.com. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary. As we said, we're here at the Glenwood-Pochuck Volunteer Ambulance Corps building. Well, we spoke with Kevin Duffy and Scott Bergie, members of the ambulance squad, about their membership drive and what they're all about. And here's that story.
We were founded back in 1980 was when it first started. The mission basically is to make sure that this community is served at any point in time, any type of an emergency, whether it be a CPR call going out, if we have an automobile accident, anything that's going on where somebody is in need of assistance or help. That's what we're here for. There's sometimes it's one of those typical, hey, I've fallen and I can't get up, which is an actual call that we will go out for. So we are here 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to serve the community for those people who are in need.
How important is that? Because obviously in the urban areas that have the paid service, this is all volunteers that give up their time to do this.
You're exactly right. It is all volunteer, and we do it. And it's actually interesting that you asked that question, because just today in a first aid class that I was teaching up at the high school, one of my students asked me, well, why do you do it? Why do you volunteer? And it's simply because there's always going to be a need. And out here in the rural community, that need is just as great as it is in the inner cities. And why do I do it? Because when I take whoever it is, whether it be an elderly person or a young kid, when I drop them off at the high school, or I'm sorry, when I drop them off at the hospital, and they turn around and they say to me, thank you. That's why I do it, because it's worth it to give back to the community that I'm very much a part of.
And how long would it take for the person that doesn't have the background to become a full-fledged member if they want to do so?
It's actually a little bit easier than you think. In order to actually ride on one of the ambulances, you need to have a basic first aid card as well as a CPR card. And we provide all that training right here for the people. We just want people to show up. If you show up and say, hey, I would like to be a member, we will do the rest for you. We provide all the training in-house here. We have people who are certified to do that. And once they have reached that certification, you are first just a riding member, but we'll take care of all the training for those people. And the more the merrier.
You guys are currently in the middle of a membership drive. Let everyone know that sees this how they can get involved if they choose to do so.
All you have to do is drive by the building here, read the signs. You'll see what our number is. Give us a call, and then we'll do the rest for you.
Kevin, just tell us how many members there are and how you guys organize the shifts and all the nuts and bolts of running an ambulance squad.
So we currently have 33 members on our organization, and with the help of other officers, we have a program that we use called Schedule Anywhere. Very, very easy. All they have to do is go online. If they're available on a specific day, they pick up for that day and those hours. If they have available time every single week, for example, on a Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and they can give that day every week, then they'll be permanently on that shift.
And talk about the importance of that, of having coverage. I know this is a commuter community, so just talk about the challenges of that.
Some of the challenges of not being covered is just not being able to provide fast and efficient medical services to the Township of Vernon. So we do strive to make sure that we are 100% covered on the shifts that we have available.
And just talk about the coverage area that you have. Vernon, 70 square miles. You have the Vernon Ambulance Squad. You have your squad here. But it's so different topography, the mountains, just the challenges of getting to some of these places. Maybe in the middle of Lake Wallkill with all those little roads. Just talk about that challenge and how you guys meet that.
As far as the coverage area, yes. With our sister squad, Vernon Ambulance, we do cover the entire township on a daily basis, all throughout hours, all different types of the season, as you see rain being in my face right now. As far as our organization, we do have certain coverage area that we have to make sure that we are providing. So at the Drew Mountain Road intersection, coming up 565, down 565 towards the 23, Glenwoood-Pochuck Volunteer Ambulance Squad does cover that area. Some of the challenges are the back roads, like you mentioned, like Lake Wallkill. GPS is definitely our friend, but you can't always rely on electronics, so we also rely on the mapping system that we have, which is your good old paper and pen.
And just talk about it. You have a junior auxiliary. You have young kids getting into it. Just how important it is to keep the flow of new members coming in.
Yeah, we're all going to be retiring one day, so we do need to rely a lot on the younger members, the younger generation. So we do have a junior cadet program, which is ran by one of our lieutenants, and that actually starts from the ages of 14 and up. Once they reach the age of 16, then they're able to be on the ambulance, once they're fully trained as far as first aid and CPR goes. And then once they hit 18, they're able to ride as a complete member.
And just talk about what it takes a special person to be a first responder. It's not an easy job. You're going to see some horrific things, but you have to keep calm and cool and get the situation under control. Just talk about the type of person that is able to do that.
A selfless person. If you're doing this for any other reason than just a self-gratification that you're helping somebody else, this may not be the job for you. This is not something people with sick stomachs could really handle. You need to be able to put a lot of your personal emotions aside to make sure that you're helping your current patient to the best of your ability.
Folks, hopefully you don't have to use their services, but a lot of people do. Thank you so much to all the first responders in town, not just the ambulance squad here or Vernon, but the volunteer fire department and all the fire departments in town, McAfee, Vernon, Pochuck. From the bottom of my heart, we thank you guys. In the middle of the night, you answer the call. Thank you so much. And again, if you want to join any one of those organizations, I'm sure you can check out their web pages, and they'll be accepting anyone that wants to come in and put in their time and effort. But a big thanks to all of our first responders. We'll have more here on Greetings from Vernon right after these messages. And again, we want to thank the Vernon Township Education Association, the local teachers union, for being a longtime sponsor here on Greetings from Vernon. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary. We come to you from the Glenwood-Pochuck Ambulance Squad building, located at the top of Route 565 and Drew Mountain Road. Later on the show, we'll talk to Kevin Duffy and Scott Bergie about their annual membership drive, trying to get more volunteers. So they'll let you in on all the information you need if you want to become a first responder. But next on the show, it's a story about the Vernon Township Marching Band. They had a terrific fall season, winning several competitions, and we spoke with the band members, including band director Max Taylor.
We are a marching band here at the high school. It's represented by students in grades 9 through 12. We're 92 students strong, and it's been growing over the years. This year, we competed in U.S. bands shows, and those shows are all over the northern part of the state. We competed in 8 shows. One of those shows we hosted here at the high school, and we had 15 bands from around the state come and compete here on our home turf. In addition to that, the band also plays at all the away and home football games. So we had 10 football games that we played a halftime show during as well. The band also participates in several parades in the community. We do a Memorial Day parade. We just completed a Veterans Day parade at our Cedar Mountain School District. We also have done a St. Patrick's Day parade in Newton, and we've also done firemen's parades throughout the years as well.
Now, recently you've won some competitions. Let everyone know what those competitions were.
Sure. So we had a great season this year. Had, like I said, 8 competitions, and most of those competitions we either placed first or second. The major competitions that we competed at were at MetLife Stadium. We did the Yamaha Cup competition. In Group 4A, we were placed first out of 9 bands. And then later in the season, we went to New Jersey States, and there were 13 bands in our group, and we were third. And then we went to Nationals, and there were 20 bands in our group, and we were 8th.
Now, obviously, part of the band is the choreography, the marching part. You play a big role in that. Just explain how you get that through to the band and how well they do it.
Yeah, so we begin freshman mini camp over the summer, and we bring them in with our FOC leadership and just teach them the basics of how to march, how to stand, how to move, the bare minimum of like what a marching technique would be. And we have rehearsals over the summer with sectionals with all of the band kids. And full rehearsals as well. And during that time, we kind of review those things as well. And then we have our band camp, which is 2 weeks at the end of July. And that's where we go out, learn the drill that is written for us by Drew Farmer, who's a really great drill writer. And the kids learn almost all of the show during band camp. Every drill set, we put music to drill. And then over the course of the season, we add in visuals, choreography to that drill, anything to enhance the show, mostly things like that, and it just kind of develops. So it's just this long process of, learning how to take your first step to being able to do just incredible marching and running around.
Now, just to play your instrument takes a skill set. To do it and march, it's a whole different world. Talk about how much work these kids put in to perfect this.
Per week, hours and hours. And I don't know how many we calculated, but many.
Many hours.
And we do exercises where we have them in a box and we have them march around, and then I'll also have them play exercises while they're marching. We'll have them what we call tracking, and we'll have our metronome going behind them and have them play show music while on the move. That way they can associate both parts of the playing aspect and also the moving aspect. It's a really big feat to accomplish.
And you also have the flag people out there as well, so it's all coordinated effort.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, the flags are mostly the visual interpretation of the music, so.
Now, Max, you mentioned you play a lot of places. What are some of the places where you can see the band coming up soon?
Sure. So, our fall season has ended, so unfortunately you won't get a chance to see our field show again, but there are some videos on YouTube, so if you Google our VTHS marching band, you can see some of our shows from this past season, and as well as previous seasons. Coming up in a couple months, we'll be marching in the annual St. Patrick's Day Parade in New York City, so that's a very exciting thing. And in the past, we've had some morning spots, so you might be able to tune in on ABC to see us. So that'll be really cool. We also do the Newton St. Patrick's Day Parade. It's a local St. Patrick's Day Parade, and so that would be a great opportunity for our local community to come out and support us and celebrate that day with us. And later in May, in the spring, we have our annual Memorial Day Parade, where we celebrate, all of our armed services. And so you can come out to Vernon, and usually that parade starts at 10 a.m. And so that's a great opportunity for the band to be seen as well. And I know that we're really excited about this coming season in 18-19. So we're going to be performing for our 8th grade students next week, and we're going to promote to them the marching band and everything that it has in store for them at the high school. We hope to recruit. We're losing 27 seniors this year, so we're hoping to recruit at least that from the 8th grade. So we're really excited going into 18-19.
The band here at Vernon Township High School has 2 outstanding drum majors, Frank Incarnato and Ryan Chenal.
It's been awesome to place as high as we have within these competitions, but it adds a special factor when you're on the field as the drum majors and the 3 guard captains. We would be on the field for these award ceremonies or the retreat ceremonies, and you'll be standing there at attention, and you're waiting for your name to be called, and for every single one you're hoping and you're praying, it's not us, I hope it's not us, because they go last to first. And as time goes on, you get more and more excited. But when they say, at Yamaha Cup, we marched in MetLife Stadium, we all said this is a fantastic show. They say in first place, Vernon Township High School, that's just an unreal feeling. Same thing when you're in Rutgers Stadium or J. Bernie Crum in Allentown for nationals. It's absolutely unreal when you're on the field and you get to experience, them saying that your band is the best band out of all the bands there.
What goes through your mind, Ryan, when you hear that? You're out there, you and Frank are leading the way, and then it's bang, Vernon Township is the champs.
Yeah, of course it's always super special. I mean, this year it's different because, we're the drum majors. So it's a totally different feeling because I feel more a level of higher accomplishment because we were able to lead this band and achieve first place. And the band's reaction and like everyone else's reaction and the feeling that you get is it's a once in a lifetime thing.
Obviously, you guys have been members of the band for a while. What's it like when you get the call? You guys are going to be the drum majors. You've watched the ones as when you were younger underclassmen, and you find out you're going to be a drum major. So let us know, both of you guys, how that felt and the responsibility that comes with it, as you mentioned.
Right. So the way we do it is we have like a week's worth of auditions, and then we probably wait a week while all the directors judge every facet of our audition. And they call us in, and they start by announcing drum majors and guard captains. And that whole week you're waiting and you're bugging Mr. Taylor to announce it because you're so anxious about it. And then finally they say your name, and you go, "That's amazing!" And you're all hugging, like you're all I know I really wanted to be drum majors with Ryan. And so it worked out perfectly. But when they say your name, it's just such a fantastic feeling. And then probably a week or two later, or from that time to Drum Major Academy, which is where we go to Kutztown, we kind of learn the ins and outs of leadership and the actual conducting. Towards band camp, you start to realize exactly how much responsibility it is. But I think at the same time, you really appreciate that because of the times when you're on the field at MetLife Stadium or on the field at Rutgers Stadium and you win these big competitions.
And just talk about, as a drum major, we mentioned before, you're at MetLife Stadium, a huge venue, and you're out there doing what you do. Just talk about that feeling.
I know that freshman year was like pretty amazing, and you walk out there and it's like, well, this is huge, and it's really windy, but it's really cool. The field is like all nice and different from your home stadium, and it's really breathtaking to march in there. And I've never really been there. That was like freshman year was kind of probably my first year being in an actual like professional stadium, so that was really cool. But being drum major and being up on the podium there is even cooler because you're like the center of it all, and you're there and you're ready to just do it.
Just talk about how important the band is to the community here at the high school and Vernon at large. You guys play a lot of events outside the school, and everyone loves what you guys do.
Right. So, within the school, there's obviously like a laundry list of activities you can be a part of. And with band being one of the biggest ones, it's good to know that kids who maybe have never played a sport before but love music, they have something to join, something to even, get their varsity letter in, something to get, a gold bar in, a silver bar in. It's very rewarding to those people who maybe, for whatever reason, haven't had the opportunity to play a sport, to get involved in an activity that gives you that athletic edge but also allows you to perform the music that you love so much. So I think it's very important to the school in that regard. In the community, I think because of the events we do, whether it's the Veterans Day parade at Cedar Mountain or the 8th grade preview show, trying to get these kids, into the high school and involved in some of this stuff there, I think it serves a great purpose, and that's literally just to involve everyone and really do a service to the community. And
just talk about that as well. But how's that feeling, knowing you're bringing so much joy to everybody with what you guys do?
It's really cool. I know that a big percentage of the community is really interested in what we're doing all the time. I always have people asking me, "Oh, where's your next performance? What are you doing this weekend? What are you doing? How'd you guys do?" Everyone's always interested. Everyone's always interactive with the whole band, status. And also at like football games and stuff like that, at these football games here, everyone's so hyped to see us perform. And we go into the student section and we hype them up too, and everyone's always thanks us for that. And it's just a really good feeling to know that everyone's super supportive of us.
And just talk about the time and effort you guys put in. It sounds like you show up on Friday night and you guys have it down pat.
Absolutely. So within the summer, either we have the freshman band camp for the new members, whether they're freshmen or somebody who's older that waited a year or however many years to get involved in marching band. That kind of teaches them the in and out, and that's usually about the day after me and Ryan and the 3 guard captains return from the Drum Major Academy and really understand what we're doing, and not the stress but the experience going into it. And then band camp, once you get there, that's 7 a.m. in the morning to 8:30 at night for 8 days. So that's a huge time commitment. We're doing stuff. We're running around like chickens with our heads cut off. We're trying to learn, or we're trying to, 1, figure out how to do stuff within the school, and 2, figure out how to encompass, the 94 people that we have into this one show and create that product that's, bigger than any one person. And then for every rehearsal, we rehearse twice a week. So me and Ryan will usually show up an hour early, leave a half hour to 45 minutes late, just, making sure everything's set up and ready to go, or everything's packed up and ready for the next rehearsal, or ready for band the next day. We have to set up the band room, stuff like that. Fridays, we usually stay straight through, so that's usually a pretty long day because you go right from school into the game. Again, me and Ryan will set up the fields. We'll rehearse out there. We'll come inside. We'll do some pep tunes to, again, kind of hype up the student section, make sure everyone's excited about the game. We'll perform our halftime show. We'll finish out that game. We'll host the other band, kind of talk to them about, the differences between our bands or just interesting stuff about them. And then Saturdays, our big thing, it's our competition day. We get here, at the crack of dawn. We make sure we're here super early. We have to set up, even an hour earlier. We're setting everything up. We got to rehearse. You got to put in 2 to 3 hours of just straight effort to make sure it's a great final product, as like a trial run for that night's performance. And then, you wait, you watch all the other bands, depending on what your seed is. For example, like at Yamaha Cup, when we were first seed, we didn't watch many bands. But other competitions, it's more time-based, so we watch, a good amount of bands. So, then you go to retreat and, you celebrate with your band, and it's, an hour and a half home. You get home super late. So it's a huge commitment, but I think that at the end of the day, it's definitely worth it.
All right, guys. All right, folks, if you've seen the Vernon Band do its show, it's a great show. I was fortunate to cover several Vernon games this year of football, and they put on a heck of a show. And keep an eye out for when their next gig is. They're just a great bunch of kids and a lot of fun to watch. We'll have more here on Greetings of Vernon, but before we go to break, we want to thank the Vernon Township Education Association, the local teachers union, as they have sponsored this show. They believe in the positive stories that we bring about the township, and we want to thank the VTEA as we go to commercial break. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. Welcome back to Greetings from Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary, coming to you all episode long from Glenwood-Pochuck Ambulance Squad on the corner of Drew Mountain Road and Route 565. And we'll talk to Kevin Duffy and Scott Bergie of the Ambulance Squad about their ongoing efforts for a membership drive. But right now we have a story on the Vietnam Veterans of America Association. They have a chapter here in Vernon. They meet at St. Francis de Sales Roman Catholic Church on Route 517, right across from Walnut Ridge. And, it's November, everyone thinks Thanksgiving, but more importantly, Veterans Day falls on the 11th of November every year. And this great organization helps out all Vietnam vets, and not just Vietnam vets, anyone that's a veteran and their families. John Harrigan does a great job. Here's the story on that great organization.
We're the Vietnam Veterans of America. We're open basically to all veterans, and what we do is we try to help veterans navigate the VA system. We tell them what to do, how to do it, and if they need help filing claims, we have someone down in Newark who we can send it to who's a service officer. They take care of that. They'll file a paperwork for them and follow it up for them. And basically we try and help each other.
Now, when did this chapter open? I know it's a national organization, but this local chapter, when it opened and who came up with the idea?
We opened in 2008. There was 3 of us, myself, Owen Martin, and Walt Hazelman, and 4 of us, and Bob Gilbert. We decided we needed something closer up here because the closest VVA chapter was about 30 miles away. And there are a lot of veterans up here that didn't even know it was down there.
Now, just talk about what you do. You have your meetings here at St. Francis de Sales every 4th Sunday. We're here on a Thursday. It's an informal gathering that any vets need any help. Exactly what do you do here?
On Thursdays, what we do is we help veterans, we help the widows, we help anybody that has to get into the system. A lot of veterans don't know that they're able to get to the VA. There are benefits available to them that they don't know about. And by word of mouth, they hear about us, and they come in on a Thursday, and we give them a hand. We help them out.
Now, obviously, the men that served and women that served in Vietnam, it's an older group now, so there's a different set of issues. Is that some of the things you're dealing with as well?
Well, that's the thing. There's a lot of Vietnam veterans. We're all close in our 70s or above, and the younger vets need the help. And I call it the invincible status. They came home like us and said, I don't need this now, but eventually they will. And we try and reach out to them, and we do have a few that we help here and there.
How important is it to get the word out about this? There's so many vets around, and it's been a hot button issue with the last presidential campaign and local campaigns around here as well. How important is it to get the veterans the services they need?
They have to know about it, and once they get out of the service, they don't tell them anything, really. They don't say where you can go, what you can do, and a lot of them don't even know, from what I understand, that they're entitled to benefits, medical benefits, for the 5 years as soon as they come out, even if there's nothing the matter with them. So the more word that you can get out and let these veterans know, and it keeps the VA working, too.
Now, we were talking off camera. Yes, you guys do paperwork and help out, but the thing that kept coming out of you is a lot of laughs. Talk about the camaraderie you have with all these guys.
Well, it's a lot of fun, and what it is most of these guys, they never even knew each other until we started this in 2008, and since then it's become a family, and we go out to dinners, and we go on bus trips and things like that, and this is a Thursday. A lot of guys just come in here, sit, and just have a good time.
And we talked before, and you mentioned before, how important is it to let the people know it's just not the Vietnam vets you guys help out, it's anyone that served?
Well, it's any veteran, no matter when they served, and it's even the widows and the spouses and things that we can help. No matter when you served, you're able to be helped. We're open to everybody. Anybody can join the Vietnam Veterans of America. You don't have to be a Vietnam veteran. We have an associates group also.
And John, everyone in the local knows about your efforts to get the Veterans Cemetery open in Sparta off Route 94, a beautiful place over there. Just talk about how proud you are to get that going, and let vets know that that is an opportunity if they want that to be their final resting place.
Well, the cemetery is something else. It started just, on a whim when my wife and I saw that there was one up in Orange County, New York. We said we needed something here. And when I started that, I never really realized that it would be as involved as it was. But since we started it back in 2015, when it originally opened in November, we've buried 115 people so far. And the best part is it's close, and family members can visit, and they can spend time, and they don't have to travel 50, 60 miles down to get somewhere.
And this is November, obviously Veterans Day is during this month. How important is that everyone in this country should celebrate our veterans?
Oh, yes, it's something else. And that's what we did at the cemetery also. On Veterans Day, we had family members come and place flags on the graves. And for Wreaths Across America, we'll be doing that in December. So it's really there for all the people.
Now, if anyone watching this is not aware that the organization is in Vernon, how can they contact you? Where are the meetings? Give everyone that kind of pertinent information.
Well, we meet here at St. Francis de Sales Church on the fourth Sunday of every month. It's not the last Sunday, the fourth Sunday, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can reach us at the chapter number 973-271-2413, or visit the website vva1002.org.
All right, I want to thank John Harrigan. He does a great job with that organization. And folks, we have to thank all the veterans. And what's great about that organization, you don't have to be a Vietnam vet. You can be any veteran or a family member, even a non-vet that wants to help out. So please check them out. It's a great organization. We'll have more here on Greetings for Vernon right after these messages. And before we go to break, we want to thank the Vernon Township Education Association, the local teachers union, and they do a great job with your children. And we want to thank them for being a sponsor here on Greetings from Vernon. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. United Water is now Suez, safe, clean water for the communities they serve. Welcome back to Greetings for Vernon. I'm your host, Dan Cleary. Well, there's a new initiative in Sussex County to fight the scourge of heroin use and drug abuse. It's the CLEAR program. It was first started in Newton. Well, Vernon now has it, and Vernon Police Chief Randy Mills explains to us what it's all about.
CLEAR program is something that was developed. It's a hybrid of a system that was started up in Gloucester, Massachusetts. Chief Mike Richards from Newton Police Department started it in Newton. I think it was sometime in the summer of 2016 they actually went live. What the CLEAR program is, it's a relationship between the community and law enforcement where we become a vehicle for people who don't know where to turn and they need help. So if somebody had a problem and they were looking for help, one of the biggest issues they face sometimes is that they may be looking for help, but there's no beds for them right now, no rehab facilities that can take them in. So here you've got somebody who's finally gotten to the point where they're ready to take that next step, and there's nobody available to get them through it because they're getting turned away, there's no beds available to help them. Well, what somebody can do under the CLEAR program is they can come into one of the participating police departments, and now in Sussex County, Vernon was the second one in the county to go live on October 11th. There are 6. You can go to actually the website, clearprogram.org, and you can see the list of the police departments that are active right now in the CLEAR program. So between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m., you can walk into the lobby of the police department, speak to dispatch, and just say you'd like to speak to somebody about the CLEAR program. The person who needs the help can do it themselves. If they have anything on it, they'll be asked to turn it over. They will not be charged with whatever they're found in their possession. We'll just take it and it'll be properly disposed of. The officers go through a quick little background questionnaire, and then we get them in touch with a recovery coach. And what's unique about the CLEAR program, other than going to just a regular substance abuse counselor, is all the recovery coaches are recovered addicts. They've been there, they've gone through the process, and they found that it's a very high success rate when you're dealing with somebody who's been there. So after speaking to the coach, we have enhanced access to beds, and they get put on the right path, and it's a system. It's a mentoring system to where now they've got a support system. Family members can also come in and ask for help through the CLEAR program. We also have family recovery coaches. If you've got a family member who has this issue and you're at your wit's end and you're not really sure what to do next, you can come into the lobby and ask to speak to someone about the CLEAR program. You'll speak to one of our officers. They'll they'll ask a few questions, and they'll put you in touch with a family recovery coach. And that's the same thing. That's not the addict themselves. That's a family member of somebody who was an addict. This program started in Newton, like I said, I think it was the summer of 2016. They did a presentation several months ago where we got to see that a lot. The stats, there was a significant number of the people were from Vernon that were actually traveling to Newton to participate in their CLEAR program. So we decided that it was important to try to take the steps necessary. We needed them to make a couple adjustments to the program because logistically how far we are from the county seat and from the hospitals and things like that. They were able to do that. We put it out there for our officers to see who would be interested in becoming part of the process, because there are only specific officers who have the training. We make sure that we have 2 scheduled to work at all time. So there should always be an officer on duty between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. to be able to take the people in and get them the help that they need.
You just talk about how this is a big tool in the prevention of heroin abuse. It's become the scourge of the country. No town is not affected by it. Talk about how big of a tool this is, because the old thinking used to be, you lock up the addicts and that was it, and then you wouldn't get cooperations. Like now, if you come in and you have something on your person, you're not going to get charged. Talk about how this is a very good tool.
Right. Well, the phrase is that we're not going to arrest ourselves out of this problem. That's not what's going to happen here. These people who we're dealing with and on a regular basis now, these are not addicts like you picture a drug addict if you were to look at 1980s, 1990s a drug addict. This is something different like we've never seen before. These are, the most part, these are normal people who maybe had a prescription that was legitimately prescribed. They became addicted to that prescription, and the irony is it's actually cheaper to go out there and get heroin than it is to get another prescription. They used to doctor shop. Now they'll just go out on the street and they'll get heroin. The problem is heroin itself being as dangerous as it is, the fentanyl, the synthetic heroin, is so much more potent, and this is where a lot of these overdoses are coming from. The arrest and lock them up and put them in jail, that's not going to break this cycle. It's too pervasive. It's a different culture that's out there. Now, the last 2 overdose deaths we've had in Vernon in the last 2 weeks were both males in their 50s. So that is not the demographic that you would picture to typically be involved in a drug problem. So what's important for people to understand when you hear of someone having an issue, very often these are good people who just made mistakes. Mm-hmm. And we deal with that all the time. And it's a matter now getting them back on the right path, getting them the help that they need, and giving them the tools they need. And you mentioned a tool, and this is one of the tools in the toolbox. Somebody who is addicted like this, they're not their normal self. They're stealing from family members, they're shoplifting, they're breaking into houses, and things like that. And because this is just such a compulsion, they need to get that next dose of their medication, whether it be a pill or whether it be heroin or synthetic heroin. This is not an issue like we've ever seen before. This is not marijuana. This is not cocaine. This is something totally different.
And talk about the challenge of only being 45 minutes away from the urban areas, where these are all a lot of the places where they supply it, and that people can go just a short little trip and they're back in town. That's a challenge for you. I know West Milford, Jefferson, the corridor of Route 23 and Route 15 as well.
Well, it's funny you say that, because we do work very closely with what we call the Route 23 corridor departments, because yes, typically a user from Vernon would make their trip into one of the more urban areas down at the other end of Route 23, and which often means on their way back they might be under the influence, which obviously creates some dangerous situations. The important thing to understand about a heroin addict is they're not necessarily walking around and walking into walls and walking around like zombies. A lot of these people are functioning like everybody else. They just happen to have this need to put this drug in their system on a regular basis, or they will start to feel very sick and very ill. So again, this is not like we're looking for any particular demographic. This could be anybody who started with a legitimate prescription, and next thing you know, they just turn to the cheapest, easiest thing that's available, which happens to be out on the street.
And again, anytime between 8 and 5, could they call the police station as well?
They could call. It's Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. There should always be somebody here. If you happen to go to one of the departments in the county that doesn't have it, they'll refer you to. It's pretty much all but a couple of the departments now have it. I think Hamburg doesn't have it. I don't know that Hapakon has it yet, but other than that, I think most of the departments, certainly all the larger ones, Newton, Vernon, Sparta, Hardiston, we're all on board as far as, again, this is a tool in our toolbox. We need to get these people help. Arresting them doesn't do anything but tie up resources on our end, and it may put them in the court system or in the drug court system, but again, that just gets them spending a lot of money on attorneys and court fees that they could be using to get the help they need. We're excited about being part of the CLEAR program. We hope that we can continue the success that the Newton Police Department has started, and we look forward to helping our community.
Folks, anything that can stop the scourge of heroin in this town and throughout the country is well welcomed, and hopefully the people that need help find that help and they can use the CLEAR program. Well, that's going to wrap up this edition of Greetings from Vernon. First of all, again, thank you to all the veterans here during November. Without you giving your service, we don't have the freedoms that we have. So from the bottom of my heart, I thank all the first responders. Also, Thanksgiving coming up, get your turkeys local. There's plenty of places you can get all your Thanksgiving stuffing and turkeys and all the food you need for that big banquet. You can find it all here in Vernon. You don't have to leave the town. Do your Thanksgiving shopping here. Also, coming up is the holiday season. Remember, you can do all your shopping here. You don't have to leave Vernon. Plenty of places here to go shopping. Also, the ski areas will be open before you know it. And also remind everyone, December 1st is the holiday Christmas tree lighting down by the old Board of Ed building, by the fire department. They light the tree. We were there last year. It's a great event, sponsored through the PAL. And also check all the local Facebook pages and organizations. If you want to donate food for Thanksgiving, help out a family in need. Everyone can use help at this time of the year. And Vernon people always step up to the plate. So that'll wrap up this edition of Greetings from Vernon. I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you again soon here on mugsmedia.com. I'm Dan Cleary. Good night, everyone.